Hello, everyone, and welcome to what I think is the 11th episode of Writers of History. Last time around, we had stopped the game as your characters had settled down in in a base used by the living. And you were prepping up with some of the servers that had some data on from them on it to use it as a way to lure out whoever was doing the cyber attacks in the previous game, like in the previous game, and try to get them to attack a location in which you were at again in order to find out more about them. Now you're still setting things up, but but it's going to take some time. So all of you have some amount of downtime. So I got some ideas for things that different people might be doing. So we're going to go to the players one after the other and do a little bit of what you're doing in your downtime, starting with Theo. What is Philip doing during this time?
So, am I still on good terms with most people in the observatory? Are we back? Wait, no, we didn't go back there, did we?
We did at one point. You did not go. You didn't need to go back. You were mostly on good terms. It's just that since you've been prohibited from doing missions outside of the observatory because of the fact that it was found out that you didn't actually write the essay that got you into the secret society in the first place.
Oopsies. Okay. Most of my free time is probably going to be spent probably a lot of time in my own memory palace, working on building some memories of things that have happened and talking with Allison, especially on how to maybe get Stefan's full memories back, because we haven't gotten his full memories back yet, have we?
Not yet, no.
Yeah. So maybe working and contemplating on that and how we want to do it, when we want to do it, and really just building up my memory palace some more and putting some TLC in it.
TLC?
You know,
Tender love and care.
But I don't actually know what it means. I guess I do now.
All right. So you you spent some time doing this. So there's a lot of meditation and introspection during this time, and at some point I think Crimson is going to come and talk to you. So you'd be in one of the rooms of the living's house, and meditating when he arrives, and he knocks on the door and asks, can I talk with you a little bit?
Sure. And I'll stand up and I'll open the door.
I've read up a little bit on the file that Pisces. I've read up on the file that that was published earlier. Say, what I was curious about what circumstances led you to take your uncle's work for yourself. Take the credit.
Well, it's complex, I suppose. I knew that his work needed to get out there, but he wasn't there to do it himself. And once they thought it was mine, I just got caught up in it and ended up going along with the idea that it was my own work, just as a way to get it out there and keep my uncle's reputation safe.
What was his name? I don't think we've established it thus far. view?
I feel like we have.
We probably have, and then didn't.
Is it?
Like,
Because I think it's on the essay that you wrote up. Ajax.
Oh yeah. All right. His name is Ajax. Yes.
Can't believe his uncle is a Deadpool villain.
I didn't. I thought you were going to refer to the War of Troy, but okay. Yeah. And so Crimson says, well, don't worry. I'm not judging you for what was published in your files. Just as I'm hoping that you aren't judging me for the file that was published on me.
Yeah, we've all done some pretty shady things, that's for sure.
Yes, there were circumstances regarding that that video that that couldn't be fully explained from just by watching me dragging a body into a warehouse and stuff like that. But
yeah, not a lot to go off of, but enough to give quite an impression.
He nods, and he's going to get up and say, I hope that I hope that we find some new uses for your uncle's work. He seemed to have put a lot of dedication into this research. It's very good. And he's gonna leave. All
right, I'll let him leave and shut the door. Kind of take a moment of just like, oh Jesus, oh God, like I can't believe we just like addressed that all so blatantly, and then sit down and try and meditate again.
Okay. You can roll for meditation, and if you roll a 12 or higher, that can give you a +1 to the next action that you're going to undertake after meditating.
Okay.
It's under Virgo. Oliver.
Any difficulty or just a straight roll?
Just a straight roll. You're unbalanced. You're unbalanced, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend taking the darkness die.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, lots of like thoughts going through your head. Too many to have like a proper meditation at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oliver, you are. Am I correct in assuming that you've been working with Crimson on setting up the security for the server and trying to do again what you did the previous time, or are you doing things differently?
Since I don't so much care about this information, I'm not going to delete it, but I am going to copy as much of it as I can.
All right. It's mostly like reports of operations by the living in the area, so it's not necessarily like it's not information that is extremely valuable, but it does name different people, and it can be used as proof to be like, oh, these people, like the living killed those people. We have proof because they have like notes on this on their server. Okay. At during the days that pass, at some point you fall asleep while you're working next to one of those computers, and you have this weird dream. It starts off with the sensation that like someone is knocking on glass, as if they were like in an aquarium, and they're like knocking to get your attention to get out. And when you come to your senses, you are in your memory palace, which still looks like like the first Tron, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right. What are your memories store? What is the object that stores your memories in this in your memory palace?
There are those discs that everyone has on their backs.
All right. So your memories actually move around on people.
Yep.
Okay. So you have so one of your memories is just passing you by, and you're not sure if you're in a dream or your memory palace exactly, but you can hear this sort of like knocking coming from the disc, and you can see there's something there, something that's just trying to knock their way out of the disc, and you catch this sort of like you catch sight of what this thing looks like, and it looks like this. So you see the part that looks humanoid under the mask.
Sure.
Yeah, this part does not move at all. It's the serpentine form coming from the top of the head that's moving around, and the body looks like it. The body is the humanoid part of the body looks stiff as if it was made from cardboard. And yes, it's inside one of your memories. What do you do?
I'll go investigate that memory because I certainly don't remember this.
All right. When
I assume I don't remember this.
Mm-hmm. You find yourself in your lab, in the part of the Gemini Observatory that is yours, and it's a memory. Like you saved this memory because you were working on some like important part of your development of your robot. So it's like you had it plugged in onto your computer, and you were like writing some code for it or something, and like now you reappear in that scene. You're there, but also this figure is there, and it's just standing creepily looking at you. And but before that, what does your robot look like? What have you been working on? It's the project you've been working on since character creation.
Yeah.
What's installed on it? What does it do?
Right now, it's basically just a set of treads with a couple arms kind of coming out from the top. Okay. It's pretty basic, and you it's not fancy or nice or anything. It's just looks like it's made to do something, and that's it.
Okay. What weapons have you installed on it?
Right now, nothing.
Okay.
I'm not going to give the artificial intelligence I developed for it weapons until I can trust it.
All right. So yeah, you're there, and your memory of yourself is also there. And so like there's this awkward moment where all of your like when there's three of you in the same room. And the figure is not saying anything. It's in fact it's not moving. It's just staring.
I'm going to ask it what it's doing in my memories.
Is this where we are?
You tell me. You're the one that barged in here, Mr. Not Moving.
Would I have come here if I didn't need help? I wonder.
That is really a question you have to answer for yourself. I can't answer that for you.
so like the weird thing that's happening when you talk with this figure is that no sound comes out of her mouth, but just but the mask animates itself, and when you're watching the mouth move, you hear the voice in your head, as if you were reading her lips, and but the thoughts are like strongly like but the words that she's like mouthing are appear strongly in your mind.
Are you reading my mind?
Why would I do that?
Once again, I don't know. I'm not reading yours, so you have to answer that. I mean, I can hear your thoughts in my head, so...
She says, I don't know. I was lost in a maze a couple of seconds ago, and now I'm... And like she turns her head towards the door, and she steps out of your memory.
That is incredibly creepy, and I think we just got a bunch of information stolen, so I should probably wake up now.
All right. Yeah, you wake up, and there's nothing. Nothing was stolen. No sign of breach of the server.
This is very creepy.
Thank you. I worked hard on making this image, this creature creepy.
It's definitely not getting weapons on its robotic body yet.
Chris, you mentioned to me that there was a couple of things you wanted to do during the downtime, including exercising, right?
Yes. If it's going to be a couple of days, then what I'd like to do is, in addition to pursuing my interest in the parkour by just going out and running, seemingly aimlessly about the city, but specifically looking for difficult terrain to practice traversing. But I would also like to find a dojo where I can speak with the master there and arrange to get some training with some of the advanced students. It seems like my interest in martial arts is going to be truly put to the test, since I'm actually going to be put in real combat situations, potentially life and death. So I might need to kind of change my mentality, which has always been it's for demonstrating one's skill and appreciating it. Now it's going to I may need to be kicking people's heads off their necks. So I might need to kind of get some help in realigning my, So essentially what I'd like to do is I'd like to find a master that I can talk to, hopefully based on my reputation. And I do have the martial art world as one of my domains. And just basically get a chance for me to practice fighting. Obviously, I'm not going to try and hurt people, but I want them to come at me more aggressively than they might otherwise, than just sparring would be.
Okay. So you take the time to like you practice a lot. You get better at that. If you want to now, like if you haven't spent all of the points that you want on some skills that you might be practicing here, now would be a good moment where your character is like doing this. Also, you're going to notice something when you put yourself to the test. It's that you have this. You're better at it now than you were before you took your work in white and your work in black, because basically now, in terms of game mechanics, you have both the light side dice and the dark side dice that you have to choose from. and since you're balanced, you can do so. You can choose whichever you want. So basically, this you feel like you're being advised by your Archon and your Diva in whatever you do, giving you a better chance of success. Like it's so yeah, you're getting like you can feel that you're better now than you were before.
Excellent.
Is there anything else you'd like to do during the downtime?
I would like to speak with he doesn't have his name listed there, so yes. Stefan is his character name?
I don't have a name. How come?
What? I can see your name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought Stefan.
Stefan Lisowski.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'd like to ask him very like, so those two big guys that we fought, what exactly are they? Because the one I was fighting, he really should not have been able to power his way out of that hold I put him in, but he did. So what are they?
Well, I'm not sure that I exactly know what they are, but the group we are fighting is named the Living, and they usually alter the living beings or dead beings to be animated and look alive. So those two might be horrors that the Living is spreading through the world. You can, in movies you have zombies and
Sure.
I don't know what kind of undeads, but, well, this is something similar. I'm not sure, I didn't dabble in that kind of powers, but through ages I know of the existence of such a power that can bring dead, not to life, but to be animated at least, as I know it.
So are you able to tell whether they are, when you see them, or is Oliver or Philip able to tell when we encounter someone like that they are?
Do I know of such verse?
You can. I'll just tell you, like, sometimes you can use clairvoyance to be able to see what a person's to see about to see that if they're using powers, you might feel it with clairvoyance, as you had when Michel Wozniak brought Oliver back to life. You were able to sense something with the karma. So when someone is actively using powers, it might be possible to detect it. But if you want to ask questions about the group themselves, you'll have to roll for the 8.
That's my question. Can I roll the 8 or Secret History to see what actually we know about? So here is the 8. So it's 11.
It's a failure, unfortunately. Yeah, you don't know much more about the 8 than what you've already learned throughout this game.
So basically, there it is.
Okay. So really, what I needed is I need you so when I have to fight a regular person, I hold back. I don't want to hurt them. So, I could very seriously injure somebody if I just unloaded on them. So I don't. But I need to let me know if you spot somebody that we're going to be fighting, if they are not a person I need to hold back on, or something, or whatever they are. I don't know. I'm sure in time I'll probably learn how to recognize it myself, but because I don't at this point in time, I'm going to need you guys to let me know when it's, like if it's just somebody's, regular person, whatever. I'm not going to do the same thing I would if they were an animated corpse, where they're already dead, so I can.
Yeah, it's understandable.
All right. And the other thing is that at some point in time, I'm going to go bang on Philip's door or wherever Philip is resting and try to interact with him if he's available.
Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, especially after the not so nice meditation session.
Hey, so listen, now it's a dangerous place out there, as I am learning, and I was going to go for
Yeah.
a run, and you appear to be in fairly decent shape. Would you care to join me?
God, yeah, actually, that sounds great. Hell yeah.
All right.
And Philip just goes and immediately like starts putting on his shoes and getting ready. Just happy to have somebody around who isn't like just always with their nose stuck in a book.
All right.
Oliver's nose is never stuck in a book; it's stuck in a computer screen.
So we'll go out for a run, but I'm going to begin trying. I'm going to pick fairly easy paths initially, but continue to make them more and more difficult until we reach the point where we're actually scaling the sides of fences and walls and buildings. And
Oh shit!
I'm gonna have both of you roll for endurance first to see how good your characters are doing, like on the long run, before you start like parkouring.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, Philip is doing good. You're both beasts.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. And I guess like an athleticism at -3 would be what you'd need to do to like, you know, jump over terrain and stuff like this. So and like doing parkour. So I go ahead and I'll let you both roll to see like how to like both practice and show each other how good you are at that.
okay, can I call out on a domain of martial arts at all to give me a bonus in there, or
domains don't give you bonuses. They allow you to use skills that rely on domains, or they allow you to use your network and influence on people inside of that domain, but they don't boost your skills.
Okay, so I roll athleticism now. Under difficulty is where I put -3.
Yes. Okay. That does not.
Oh no!
So Philip ends up, you know, like helping you, you know, get to some places that are harder to get to, because
Philip just has a lot of pent up energy.
Philip also rolled like an 8 when Chris rolled 2 threes. So
Oh shit!
Yes.
it's just not your day today. Like energy wise.
Well, we keep going.
Okay. Do your characters like you know, when your characters take a break to breathe and drink, like you, how are your characters interacting, meshing together as the two physical characters in the group?
Oh well, when we stop running, I go into a handstand and I begin doing push-ups in a handstand.
This is fantastic.
That way I rest my legs, but
Oh my
my
god!
arms.
Philip out loud just
tired.
goes, "Jesus fucking Christ!" I would do that too, but I haven't quite worked on that ability. I think I'm mainly good at just punching things real well.
Well, I mean, as an extension of capoeira, a lot of it is done in, you know, on your hands while you're upside down, twirling around. So
Impressive. How long have you been doing that kind of stuff?
about 5 years old, I started.
Jeez. So you've really got this stuff down.
Well, Yes.
I mean, I would hope so, starting so young. That it'd be kind of wild if you weren't at least somewhat skilled at it. And I mean, apparently you rocking it in front of me right now. So
Well, I've reached that point where the the people who have more technical knowledge of it are older and not as physically fit as I am. So
mm,
I'm still learning, but what happens is I've reached a point where I haven't found someone who has the same level of youth and being in physical shape compared to the amount of skill they have. So,
that makes sense.
but fortunately, a lot of the people in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, do practice, and some of the best are also some of the least well known. They do it for themselves. They don't do it for, which is why I stopped actually entering tournaments and such, because I'm not, initially I did it because I did want to establish myself, but I did reach a point where I realized that it wasn't really necessary. I had proved it to myself that I had actually accomplished it. So now it is much more for me, and for me to be able to to share it with people. I'm not really interested in taking on people who would pay me to teach them as much as finding somebody who really does need it. That kid who doesn't have the confidence, or who's been victimized or something like that. That's the kind of students who I will tend to take and teach rather than doing it, which is why I teach language for my profession, and I keep this where I can teach who I choose to teach, because I don't want to teach somebody who isn't going to use it for the right reasons.
That's just admirable as hell. I can relate to parts of that too. When it comes to physical strength, there's always a need to show off at some points, I suppose. But yeah, when you do it more for yourself, it's more rewarding in ways that people don't realize. And it's kind of nice to not be in the spotlight all the time.
Yeah, I'm just starting to think maybe this group and what I've learned in the last few days has maybe been what I have been guided towards all of this time. Seems like it might be a more worthy application of the skill rather than just winning a trophy or winning a purse of money for winning a tournament. To actually be able to use it to accomplish a greater good is not probably more than I thought I would eventually be able to do. But I think I've found the reason why I've been so motivated to learn as much as I have about this.
Kind of feels like just fulfilling the ultimate childhood dream of being a superhero in some ways.
Well, there are sometimes that
Yeah.
one can't help but wonder. I mean, there is a certain sense of pride in being able to defeat somebody who's doing something bad, or just being a bully,
Yeah.
or trying to rob a store, I mean, that kind of thing. Yes, it does.
Yeah. Being able to do justice with your own strengths.
But you know what? That trick that they did with the gun, that was very interesting. How Oliver was able to tell Crimson to drop that gun, because it was very clear that Crimson did not intend to drop that gun.
That was Stefan, not Oliver.
Stefan did that. So, Crimson was clearly not interested in dropping his gun at that point in time, and then all of a sudden he did. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Stefan's been at this a while. He's learned some things that, like, God, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around. And I don't know, that's probably not saying a lot because it's hard for me to wrap my head around most of the things happening here half the time, but it's, I don't know, he's learned a lot, he knows a lot, and he's probably the best mentor to have in this kind of business.
So that could be a nice transition for Stefan's scene. Stefan, what are you doing? Like what are you doing during this downtime?
Well, I have my new laptop, and I'm figuring things out when not playing solitaire and stuff like that. So
I'm so proud. Stefan is the epitome of the Facebook group. Show this to Jim. Ha ha ha.
Well, I tried Minesweeper, but I didn't get that. Yes. I will actually write my little blog or forum in 2000. Right. So yeah, there is no blogs, but the forums are pretty active. So I will start it, as I told you, on some I don't know, like anonymous blog about truth, about trinities, about powers, bronze, iron, and silver kind of people. So
okay, you start spreading the message of the Neo Hermes through the affinity, through the not affinity, but anonymity of the internet. All right. Yeah. At some point, Crimson is going to come talk to you as well. Hey, listen, you. When we were at the Sorbonne, I saw you reading through papers on Nicolas Flamel, and I looked at the papers you've published on alchemy and things like this, and I must say I'm quite impressed. But did you never think of going beyond the free works as they are?
Beyond, I'm afraid I don't understand you, young man. What do you mean?
Well, we were beings of gold when we were created in Eden. We had our Archon and Diva, and we were downgraded with every action that the Elohims took. When the Ares created war, when Sagittarius deprived us of our Archon and Diva, and all of those other things. And so the free works help restore what we used to be, but they also give us more power. And we don't really, I don't think we have to stop at just those free works. What do you think?
Well, as long, not as long, but we need to restore our full fulfillment of a being, so we need to become gold again. But I'm not sure that I subscribe to the school that says do it in any way. So I will be careful. We'll still be judged at the end. So I don't want to be judged badly.
Of course, there's a good way of there's a good way of doing the free works, and a bad way of doing them. But I'm talking about going beyond that. I'm talking about transcending using alchemy to try to transcend the simple state of humanity. we could. That's what the Crimson Table is trying to do, and we could use alchemists like you, people of great talent, if you have the ambition to join us. That is.
Well, I will need to learn a little bit more about your intentions before I say yes, but...
So he leans in closer and he says, simply put, we're trying to create a work in gold, a work that would make the person drinking it equal to one of the 12.
But you are thinking of only one person?
Oh no! Of course, just like all of the other works, this would be spread to the initiates who are deserving of it. The people of the Ruby Table, and then maybe the rest of the Hermes.
Do I know actually from history? Can I roll a secret history to see if anybody attempted such a thing, or?
You would have to roll the 8.
The 8?
Yeah.
Okay. 14.
14. So so from what you know, this there have been some people who've tried, alchemies to become beyond the free alchemical works to try to get better at this. But apart from the Ruby Table, you don't know any other tables who attempted this in the 8 at least. Let me try to think if there's anybody else who tried to become a god that you would know, that you could know of. Not as far as I'm aware. I mean,
Really?
there's the. What do you mean?
No, I'm just kidding. Like,
Okay.
did you try to become that? Nah, dude.
Like the alchemical works as they are now are only using ingredients to restore something that was lost. Finding the ingredients for such a work would be tremendous work.
I understand. Well, actually, what would you like me to do if I say yes?
Oh, you would just be initiated into a new part of our order, and and your skills, your alchemical skills, would be put at good use, developing this work that we've been working on for centuries.
And what do I know actually about the Crimson?
What do you know about Crimson himself?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know much. You haven't been able to you haven't learned a lot about him other than the fact that he's supposedly linked to a murder case. And he was caught on camera dragging the body into a room where it was later, where a body was later found, with very weird mutilations and a lot of blood all over the place.
And I don't know about Crimson from historical point of view, about their organization. Do they belong to the 8 actually?
Oh, he belongs to the Hermes, but he doesn't have a reputation very far beyond that.
So they belong to Hermes. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay. So he's not a rebel or any kind of neo-Hermes.
No, he's not.
Okay. That was the thing. Well, another double agent thing. Well, I will agree to help you if you need my help in alchemical domain. So
All right.
that's all I can offer for now.
We can talk more later about a potential initiation. Thank you for your time. And he gets up and he leaves. Okay. He's also going to talk with Oliver. Oliver, when he comes to you, he says, I'm not sure we're going to be able to find anything different if we do exactly the same thing we did last time with the server. We should try something new. Do you have any ideas?
I was going to leave the data intact. It's not ideal. Don't really want any information getting out, but it's not ours, and it's not all that important, so if it does get stolen, that should be fine, and that will ease your ability to track it, will it not?
I don't think that I don't think we'll be able to locate where this is coming from, even with the added security. That hack was just too fast for us. We need to find. We need to reconfigure the system in a different way. We need to change our approach. We can't just raise security and just hope that we get new information.
I do have one idea. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I might have something.
Okay.
If we disconnect the outside accesses when it's inside the system, it will be trapped in this server, or at least part of it will.
That makes sense. We'd have to. Yeah. Are you thinking that something is attacking us by coming into our system and like it's some sort of spirit? Because
no, I was assuming it was a clever virus someone wrote.
What?
I was assuming it was a clever virus someone wrote to gather information.
I don't understand. If we just disconnect the server from the internet, they just won't be able to. It will just stop the attack, the hack. Unless if something is in the server, and I thought that's what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean there might be some remnant of code that's left over that they didn't have time to erase while we was leaving.
That makes sense. Yes. All right, we can try that. That's a good plan. Okay. So you start setting this up, and you program an off switch to turn off the turn off the internet access. And after a couple of days of like baiting the group, you finally get the hack to happen. It starts off around midnight, and most of you are asleep at this point when Crimson comes and wakes you all up in your individual rooms and says it started. And once again, like the computer, when you arrive in front of it, there's like a bunch of windows opening and closing. Your firewalls will be taken down one after the other at incredible speed. And you're partway through it. Oliver, can I ask you to roll for? I'm going to ask you to roll for reflexes to pull the plug on time on this, or or technologies?
I will take technology.
Okay.
It's either a +4 or a +13, so...
Gotcha. So yeah, you pull the plug like before the rest of your firewalls are down, and the hack keeps happening. It doesn't stop just because the internet is disconnected.
Well, that's not how the internet works, and that is actually what Oliver is saying.
So everybody else, what do you do?
Panic. Just Oliver says that's not what the internet's supposed to do, and Philip's just like, oh, great, time to panic.
I bet Stefan is super confused now.
Yeah.
Right?
I just figured this out.
Well, if you disconnected and it's still happening on your computer, maybe it's trapped now in your computer.
Yeah.
It has slowed down a little bit, though. It's now not taking down firewalls at the rate of it's not overcoming your defenses as fast as it used to be, and it seems to be going slower and slower. So, Crimson is just dumbfounded at the situation and isn't going to do anything.
Can you guys, well, I will now say a noob question, but can you check the space on your hard drives on this computer? Is somebody deleting something or pasting something into the drive or?
All right, Oliver, do you check that?
Yeah, Oliver will bring up.
Okay, your drive is completely full of docs, text files, and when you open them, they're all texts in ancient languages.
Oh, Jesus.
Any Latin?
Yeah, some of it is in Latin.
Let me see what I know. Latin. Only Latin.
So someone could roll languages if you have the domain for. Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll languages.
What are the file extensions on these files?
Okay, languages 8.
You can take 13, right?
No, I don't.
No, Stefan is now unbalanced ever since he did the Aleister Crowley's verses. Chris, you're able to translate some of it, and it's the Latin text that you're looking into. It's this old Latin, like it's a text from the beginning from towards the beginning of the Roman Empire, and it has all of those. It has all of the hallmarks of like one of those very, very rare documents that are in libraries. This one is talking about like it's a historical record of of like how the libraries in Rome were being constructed and how knowledge was stored there. Yeah, and it's just a bunch of documents like these that seem to be very old, and yeah, they're and the more you look into them, they are just deleting themselves after a certain amount of time passes.
Having also the domain of university, do I recognize them maybe as being any from documents that might have been specifically known, like maybe I came across them while I was studying Latin?
They might not all be well known, but they're all historically significant. None of them is just all of them are recounting about like major breakthroughs in science, erudition. A lot of them are about like records of how to translate one language to another and things like that.
Mm.
All right, I'll tell them all of that as best I can. As I'm reading through it, I'll be reading it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Right. Crimson says, "That's weird." He pops up one of the documents, and it's in like it's a very ancient text. It's an ancient language with like writings with like letters that aren't the ones usually used, and it looks, and he says it's the same. It's the same as the book I was reading. Like he shows the ancient book that he had been reading earlier, and like it's the same text. So, what do you do?
Do you recognize what language it is that he's holding the book up?
I think I mentioned it was like
Sumerian.
ancient. Yeah, Sumerian. Yeah, or yeah.
And he says he also doesn't know that language. He was looking at.
He was trying to find the aura.
Yeah.
Right. So by now the whatever is inside of your computer has finished breaking down all of your defenses, and it's now it's currently copying the documents, and Oliver, you can see that it is like deconstructing the program, the off switch to the internet that you made is just attacking that program to reconnect forcibly to the internet.
It's not an off switch. It's literally there is no more cable plugged into the wall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Since Wi-Fi doesn't exist, it's completely air gapped.
Okay. So yeah. So what do you do?
I mean, since it's still going, Oliver is going to type into a text document, "What are you?"
It's this. There's a pause, and then there a text is just appears on top as a sort of answer, but it's not just an explanation. It's the first couple of paragraphs of essay on the mysticism of labyrinths.
When that appears, I'm going to say, "Well, I don't know anything," and then I'm going to turn to Chris. Well, not anything. I'm going to say, I don't. This again. I don't understand this. So I'm going to turn to Crimson, and say that we should probably go check all the exits from this server just to make sure it can't escape anywhere.
He nods, and like he's going to start doing this.
I'm going to go with him, which is I'm going to take as much time as possible for us to work around like the entire place and make sure there's no unknown internet connections anywhere.
Okay.
While they figure out this message.
I'll let you roll for technologies at -3 to see if you find any other way that whatever is happening could be happening to the thing. But anyways, the whatever is on your computer seems to have the ability to answer you, and no, you don't find any other accesses to the server. So, what do you do?
That was more to get Crimson out of the room so that he could watch them solve this problem.
All right. So, what do you do?
Philip is immediately analyzing the document and trying to figure it out.
Just like the last time, the same letters are missing, forming the word web milk carrier.
Okay.
And you remember the last time there was Melchior was the name of the god or goddess Pisces.
Oh boy. I'll relay that information to the rest of the group.
Yeah, we remember that. Mm.
So what do you do?
Well, we keep seeing this excerpt. What about the actual full essay?
The full essay had been transferred to Philip earlier, but it had been posted online. But basically, none of that has been changed as far as you could see. But nobody's like rolled documentation to check that.
Could I roll documentation to check it?
It would take you out of this scene because it would take you some time to do this. But yes.
Okay, never mind then.
Well,
and what do you want to check?
It says here the interesting aspect of the mazes that are marked with symbols is not their impossible connection, but the strange phenomenon that happens when one walks them in a specific way. You see a similar pattern in these mazes, allowing different people to heal from minor wounds by walking in a specific way, which he explains in 65 through 70. But where are 65 through 70 for us to look through it? And where is this maze that he's referring to? And maybe we should walk this maze to see what strange phenomena may happen when we walk them, and in what kind of specific way is he referring to?
Yes, so basically the rest of the document is available online, and there's a list of mazes from all over the world that contribute to this phenomenon. But a lot of them are like in Europe and in Europe. That's where most of them can be found.
Well, does he mention any of the phenomenon that are experienced when you walk through them, apart from the one mention of healing minor wounds by wandering them in a specific way? He explains in 65 through 70.
Yeah, there's nothing else that's explained in like that's the only supernatural phenomenon observed in this essay.
So which is the closest maze to us? Is it this one that he walked to experience that phenomenon?
I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look up like which is the closest maze in Cleveland that could potentially like be linked to all of this. But where you like there's very very probably one in the United States somewhere that you could travel to.
And does that one indicate the way in which you are supposed to walk the maze?
It talks like the essay talks about both walking. Talks about both it being necessitating a sort of like a state of mind, but also following a certain pattern through the maze. And the maze has to be able to like allow that pattern to be formed.
So does anybody else think maybe we should go to one of these mazes and
see if we can try to find it? Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe we'll when we get there, we can meditate on it and see if we are inspired to walk it in a certain way or with a certain state of mind.
I agree. If we can find some. What happened to Philip's uncle or whoever wrote that paper, actually?
He died. Poor health.
Well,
No, Philip, he died in a horrible car accident soon after making his discovery.
Oh shit, really? I totally goofed that up.
It's
Big
okay, it's
yikes.
okay.
So you didn't see his body, actually, right?
Well, do you say that he died in a car accident, or do you actually tell us that he died poor health?
I would have been honest with y'all. I would have said car accident. My brain super goofed on that.
So he makes this discovery in which he figures out something pertaining to an ancient secret society and mazes that will allow you to experience particular phenomenon. And then shortly thereafter, he dies in a car accident. And
Yeah, convenient, isn't it?
So who investigated the car accident? Was he part of this or a society, or?
He was not, as far as Philip is aware.
Yeah, I just know that he studied it and told me about it before everything happened. But yeah, I don't know if he was actually involved or if he was just meddling in business that he would have been better off without meddling in.
And Crimson's not in this room with us, correct? He was
That is correct. Yeah, Oliver like brought him out in case you needed to.
Yeah, and so Crimson is part of the Hermes, and the Hermes are all about killing people to prevent them from sharing information. So
yes, the thing is, it's only information that they themselves don't know about already, and they did not know at all about those labyrinths until Theo brought them the documents, which was like important information, information important enough to get Theo's character to join them, basically.
But this essay that he wrote, this essay that Ajax wrote, was it published?
It was published, not taken extremely seriously, but by the scientific community at large because of the part where he mentions like healing properties of labyrinths. But otherwise, it's still out there. It's still public.
So he published this, and he turned this information and made it public. And that's precisely the thing that the Hermes not only doesn't like, but is willing to kill people for doing so. So this guy, if he only figured a little bit out about one maze, about an ability it had, it seems likely that he would have pursued that information. So either they might have been willing to kill him to prevent the world at large from finding out what he might publish in the future, or they might have faked his car death so that they could capture him and force him to figure the things out, but give them the information and not reveal it publicly. So he may still be alive and being manipulated by those people.
Philip, you saw the body in a casket during the funeral, but the car crash was bad enough that the body was like barely recognizable.
Yeah.
Again, all too convenient.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never felt like it was I've never felt good about what happened, but I mean, there's nothing I can do about it.
Really? There's nothing you can do about it? Like we can't get the Jackal to look into who is currently controlling him to find out what's going on with these mazes? He doesn't have that kind of pull?
By the way, I should mention this because your characters would probably know, especially Stefan. The ecclesia that's mentioned inside of the essay is one of the 8.
It's another group. Okay.
Oh, so ecclesia is a person?
No, it's a group.
It's another group. just like the Hermes, it's one of the 8. Like when you roll to have knowledge on these people, you use the skill D8. It's the 8 or secret organizations in the setting.
Well, what's their deal? How do they view the?
What do you know about
revelations
them?
Roll the 8 to know stuff.
Roll the 8, another 8. Nope.
No.
Man, you deleted too much memory from me.
Is there any point in me rolling it with 0 and 0 and 0?
I mean, you could roll a 12.
But no matter how high you roll, there's just certain. I mean, if I don't know anything, I don't know it. I mean.
Yeah, your character is very new to this, so since you have 0, I'm not even gonna allow you to roll.
Yeah.
But Philip could roll, Oliver could roll.
I'll give it a shot.
I will, however, just gently move their heads a little closer together for maybe a little increased synergy. I'll concentrate on the sharing of thoughts.
Nope.
Nope.
Oliver's not in the room, so he can't roll right now.
Yeah. So it's like basically you know that the only thing you get to know is that they deal in religion. Just like that's what their core, the core of their secret society is about religion, just like the core of the Hermes society is secret and occult knowledge. That's all I'm going to tell you with those failures. So, most of the documents most of the documents that were on the computer are gone at this point. There's only a couple left.
That's fine. It's just the living server. It's nothing we really care about, and we already have all of them anyways.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I meant the text documents that had been
those
that popped up on the computer and that started self-deleting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at Philip and say, I don't know. I mean, information gleaned through computer technology and all that is fine, but I'm more of a hands-on type, so I would really like to go find a maze and go walk this maze. I mean, we could sit here and speculate forever, but I'd like to go walk through one of these mazes. I'd like to walk through all of them. I'd like to go check them out.
I mean, I'm in the same mindset as you in that sense. I don't know. I feel like if we do, we'd have to be prepared for something. Part of me is afraid that something might be waiting for us in one of those mazes, especially now that the information is public.
Well, we'll never find out sitting here staring at a computer screen that's rapidly losing its memory and files.
Fair point. Okay. I mean, I don't know. What do the rest of you think?
Well, if you don't know about mazes, then I'm also for finding one and see what it's actually all about. Empirical approach.
All right. Can everyone roll for vigilance for me, please? Okay. Okay.
I'm looking out for everything.
You guys are not good, apart from Chris and Philip.
Well, they're good
Okay.
with computers, and we're good with making sure that they're safe while they're looking at their computers.
All right. Yeah. So stuff is going to be happening, and don't let me interrupt you. And interrupt your role playing. But like, keep going, guys.
So yeah, I think we should find out the nearest one, and we should go take a look. And I understand about the whole idea of studying and researching and all of that, but at the same time, I personally don't know how much more I would be able to find out by trying to do research or looking something up. I feel at this point I'm going to find out more by going to a maze and walking it. And if there's something there, well, I mean, there's something there. I don't know what we might find there, but if we do find something there, the worst case scenario might also be the best case scenario, because if we do find something there that's extends into the realm of the supernatural, then maybe that's an indication that we're on the right path. And Stefan will protect us from that, right, Stefan?
Well, can only do my best. So, do we know of any kind of maze that we can visit?
I don't. Okay, so let me just have a look at whether or not Philip has a domain that could help him out with that could justify knowing where a maze is just like that without having to do any research. No. Philip, you still have one domain that you hadn't chosen at character creation, that you were just waiting to.
Oh shit!
Oh my
I
God.
totally do. I am a fool.
Okay. Yeah. You don't have to choose it right now, but so far,
Yeah.
but like right now, no, I don't think anyone can roll their erudition to just know where there's one nearby.
Yeah.
But you have heard of those corn mazes being rather popular in America. You know there are some like rich estates that have like those floral mazes and stuff like this. The stone ones are a bit rarer in America than they are in Europe.
Mm. But we can actually then go to Europe. And since this book and this text seems pretty old, we should probably find an old maze, like maybe, well, what was the name of the Mycena, right? Mycene? How do you call it in English? Crete and Mycene, right? Mycene?
I don't know what it's called, how it's pronounced in English.
Well, Mycenia, yeah, there was the Taurus maze. But we don't know where it is, or we know. I'm not sure. I'm thinking of all the mazes I know. There is a...
Oh, I would like to go to the maze in Crete.
Crete, yeah, that's the one I'm thinking. But I'm not sure.
Minotaur's maze is pretty well known. You probably don't have to roll for that.
There are also mazes, but they're more like a garden mazes in some of the biggest castles in Europe. France, Vienna. So those also might hold some power to it. They are pretty big buildings and with lots of monarchistic power, but maybe, I'm not sure. Oh, I have a maze on my Windows 95 now on a screensaver. Maybe there is.
Chris and Philip, you suddenly both have this feeling like the house is too empty for the number of people in it. Oliver and Crimson have stopped like making noises from downstairs, but there's one thing both of you notice: the floor is creaking a lot.
Oh.
The floor in the room where we are, or the floor from downstairs?
The floor from the rooms around you and downstairs.
I start pointing.
Philip just nods in acknowledgement.
Yeah, and Stefan is still talking
I'm
about.
pondering about mazes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like, what do you do?
Move over to the door.
Okay. You can like. Yeah. You make your way to the door, and there's okay. So do you like you're walking on this like wood floor that does creak a little bit on your side, just as it might on the other side of the door. Are you trying to be stealthy about this?
Yes, I'm going to make an attempt to athletically move across the tabletops rather than walking directly on the floor.
I was going to ask you for stealth, but I think instead I'll ask you for athleticism, which you have many more points in. You're balanced, as far as I remember,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so you can take the 16. Yeah, you make your way to the door, and you're unnoticed, but you hear creaking from the other side.
Does the door open towards me or away?
Towards you. Also, Philip, in the distance, you hear the sound of a helicopter approaching.
Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Shit. Are we still trying to be stealthy here, or?
It's up to you.
I try and whisper towards Chris, we gotta get the fuck out of here.
I nod in agreement.
All right. You're currently on the first. Wait. Okay. So when you're on the ground floor, it's not called the first floor in English, right?
Yeah,
To ground floor,
Actually, yeah.
Oh, the ground floor is the first floor. Okay, you're on the second floor. Currently, over the beautiful garden full of poisonous plants cultivated by the nurse Michelle Wozniak. What do you do?
Does the creaking sound like it's approaching the door?
Yes.
I'm going to crouch on the table, prepared to launch myself through the door, if need be, or into the helpless fool who opens it.
Okay. Everyone who's still conscious rolls initiative. That means, I'm sorry, Oliver. Based on the previous rolls, you're currently not conscious.
Did Crimson get a roll that he failed as well?
Yeah.
And what do you want to roll? Initiative.
Reflexes. The two of you who are aware of what's happening. Well, actually, no. Stefan, you get a -6 to your roll because you're unaware of what's happening.
Okay.
Because
reflex -6. That's a 6.
Hey, I mean, some people are probably going first. Like Chris. Actually, Philip. No, Philip, you're probably not taking darkness, are you?
No.
All right,
I've
never
been doing that a
mind.
lot.
I regret everything I said.
I'm going first, is what's happening. So even with so currently the position that you took before this started, Chris, counts as an advantageous position. It means you can have a free prime. It means you can use that as a penalty in exchange for a prime when you abandon this position, when you jump out of this, but it's not helping otherwise for this fight. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be a group of armed people who are going to step into the room, and they're wearing this sort of tactical gear with armor and the black helmets and stuff like this, but they're not armed with automatic rifles that usually come with this thing. They have swords in their hands, and there is six of them in the corridor. Actually, there's going to be 5 of them in the corridor, but one of them just breaks through the window, rapidly coming down from a rope that must have been tied to the roof. So they're going to start, and there's 6 of them. They're all going to have a penalty because they're moving into the room. But each of you is going to get attacked twice. Okay. It's 3. I got really lucky with this initiative. Okay, one of them is not going to hit. So those attacks were for Chris. These attacks are for your character, Theo. So you can roll to defend against them with dodge or weaponry if you have a weapon that can block them. You can also possibly use brawl, but at a -3 penalty to try to block the enemy's movements before they can swing their sword and stuff like that. So I've done, and the last 2 attacks are for the old man, Stefan.
Low blow. Who attacks an old man?
Wow. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going easy on you guys. I should have rolled more dice. And these guys roll more than 2 dice. But that's fine. We'll keep those results. So first off, is Chris. Can you roll 1 defense, please?
Sure. I'll take the brawl at -3.
Okay. And then Theo, get ready to roll 2 defenses.
Okay.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah, Chris. So Chris, you expertly move past the reach of the sword, very close to your opponent, and block their movement so that they can't swing at you, or just evade around the room. Jumping off on the tables and stuff like this. So Theo, you need to roll defenses twice, both times against 19, and then it's going to be Stefan. You also need to roll 2 defenses.
And any difficulty?
No. The first attack is at no difficulty. The second one is at -3 because it's the second attack that you're defending against.
Okay.
I need 3 dodges, right?
No, you only need to do 2.
2.
Yeah.
And you said I could do weaponry to defend myself, right?
Yes. Oh, wow.
Mm.
Okay. So,
Jesus.
all right. So first of all, okay. Stefan, on the second attack, do you take the darkness dice?
No.
Okay, so you're going to take 2 attacks with the sword. That is a total of 8 damage. And as the sword bites into your flesh, you can feel, as one of the swords bites into your flesh, you can feel energy, the life force of your Archon and your Diva being drained through the sword, and you lose 1 point of light karma and 1 point of darkness karma from this attack. So one of them has a weird sword. Philip, it's as for you, do you take the darkness dice on the first attack coming towards you?
Is the light die on the first attack technically? Or wait, no, I'm an idiot.
It's a 1. It's a
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it on the first one.
Okay, so you can take you can take the darkness. You take 1 death, and in exchange you're only hit for 8 damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 damage, or
it's
8. Never mind. Yeah,
it's 8 because Theo's character is fused. Those guys are fast. Those guys are coordinated. And they all like space each other, give themselves enough space to swing their swords around the room, and they are efficient. Now it's your turn, Chris. What do you do?
Okay, I am going to attempt to the 2 guys that are fighting against me. I am going to try and throw the first one into the second one.
Okay.
So I'm going to shoot towards him, drop down into a handspring, and then like twirl my legs cartwheel style to try and cause him to do a cartwheel directly into the other guy.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. We're going to say that this is I think the best way the system represents this is you doing 2 attacks. So go ahead and roll 2 brawls, each at -3, because you have to take a penalty to do multiple actions.
Okay.
Okay, let me try to dodge this. Yeah, I got lucky. Your opponent like dodges out of the way of the first attack. You're not having great rolls today. You're rolling like 2s and 3s, while I'm rolling like 8s and 9s. Go ahead and do another roll, Chris.
That's not shabby. Oh, come on.
Sorry, I didn't take the darkness. I didn't take like multiple dice on this one. So you do manage to hit him. Hand to hand does 1 damage, correct?
Not for me.
Oh yeah, it does 2 because you have the Ares aura. Okay, yeah, you all of you in the room hear a sort of like sinister crunch as Chris's attack like connects with his opponent, who staggers back, but the opponent is still in the fight. Next up on the initiative is, I think, Philip.
Yeah, I got a 5.
Let's see. Yeah, you got a 5, and Stefan has got a 3.
Okay.
So, what do you do?
Do I have somebody close to me, or do I need to move to get somebody?
You have 2 of them close enough to you that they attack you with the swords.
Right. Duh. Okay. I'll use my sword and try and do a nice little swipe at the guy who hit me. Just a little revenge swipe.
Okay. Go ahead and roll weaponry.
Ooh, nice.
You connect like you're going to slash across their torso, like making their armor fall off, and the person staggers back, and pointing to you, like, you know, just tells the other one, "Watch out for this one. He's skilled." And you can see that the person whose blade absorbed karma out of Stefan is going to move to attack you. But yeah, you damaged, like you hurt one pretty bad.
Good.
Also, do you want to heal during this turn?
Remind me again what that would entail.
You spend 1 point of karma and regenerate 4 life points.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you recover 4 out of your life. Philip, sorry, Stefan, it's your turn.
So how many attackers we have?
You're fighting 6 people. You've never fought this many guys at the same time before.
Do I actually see? You said we can observe someone's karma and stuff like that, and see who has the power. Can I see any of those people have anything like?
Roll for clairvoyance.
I still hate how these skills are not alphabetical. 11. No.
It's probably safe to assume the guy with the karma stealing sword probably knows how to use karma.
That doesn't mean he can just have a weapon.
So Stefan, you get a bit of bonus. Usually, you get a bonus based on how much karma the person has. So here's something interesting. None of them have karma. In fact, the sword that's held by the person who seems to be a weapon to dispel karma. To like evaporate it into the air. It has a zone of like it looks like it's draining karma around it, and but all of them have the Taurus aura manifested around them.
What's that?
It's an aura. The aura is it's a mystical field that you extend around you that has a supernatural effect. You have the Libra aura, which allows you to roll twice. When two rolls are the same on the dice, they add up together.
And one more thing: where are we actually? In the observatory, or
you're still in? You're in Michel Wozniak's house. In Cleveland, where you set up this trap.
Are we in a basement now or up?
You're on the 2nd floor.
2nd floor, yeah, you mentioned that. Well, I don't have anything. I don't know how to fight. There are 6 of them. I'm still missing my 2 verse. We didn't rewrite those. I don't know. Well, I will yell, "Guys, run towards door," and I will throw my smoke bomb into the. If I can aim for a group of those attackers, if not.
Okay. Roll for firearms, because this is the skill to throw things as well.
Firearms.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius. Yeah. Firearms. Bing! 9.
Technically, that's. Oh yeah, you rolled a 9. You rolled a 19. That's actually going to be a hard to dodge for me.
Well, yeah, it's a 19. It's the same numbers. Yeah.
Oh wait, no. If you attacked someone who'd already been attacked by Theo or Chris in this turn, you did manage to slam the book against their face. Is it Crimson's ancient book that you just threw?
It's the smoke bomb he made.
It's a smoke bomb. I made like 2 or 3 sessions. To remember it. Yeah, I have it in inventory. It's like an improvised one with some kind of.
Is it just an explosive, or is it
It's
like
a smoke? It's a smoke.
Yeah. All right. It's now like the smoke starts to spread all across the room, and you now either need to roll a successful vigilance or a successful athleticism at -3 in order to athleticism at no penalty or vigilance at -3 in order to navigate the room correctly without bumping into anything.
I want to go for exit doors, so yeah, that was done.
Okay. You can probably do this next turn because you've already you've already done one action this turn. Okay, so one of them is yelling, "They're getting away!" And Philip, Stefan, and Chris. Each of you have one of them who points a finger at you, while the other one is going to attempt to attack you. And hold on, does this work for reactions as well?
It would have been funny if you threw the smoke bomb and then all of you stayed in the room and they all ran away.
Yeah,
looking for you.
That can happen. That can happen. I just don't have anything that comes to mind.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen. All of you are going to get attacked, but because they're using a mystical power on you, they're using a mystical power called the impotence of the bull, which basically forces you to roll a 1 on your next action or reaction, unless if you roll a 12. So I'll let you roll your defenses. You're each getting one attack, but it doesn't affect Stefan, because Stefan, you do not have Taurus in your among your signs that are boosted. The other two, unfortunately, this power can apply to you. So so unless you roll a 12, your roll will count as a 1. So it's going to be Chris, Philip, and Stefan in that order.
Poof.
Jeez, lucky you, Stefan.
Yeah, it's always me. Yeah. I received the criticals.
Wow. All right. All 3 of you can roll to dodge or to use one of your skills to defend.
So, are we first defending against that ability for them to use it, or does it automatically work?
That ability automatically work because it's similar to a verse. They just need to spend the resource that they have in order to activate it, and it's one of the most annoying abilities in the game because they can spam it basically.
Gotcha.
It only affects half the party, though.
Yeah.
Which is
that's the thing. Like Taurus has some of the most useless skills in the game, and on top of that, like people who take it get a disadvantage fighting against people who have this power. That was not a 12 for either of you. So your rolls count as 1, which means
I dodge because he got a 15 on me. So if we count my result as a 1, it gives me a 16 final.
Okay. Oh yeah. Wow. No. You absolutely. You like despite being like affected to the point where you can feel they're slowing down your reflexes. They're still not good enough to hit you. Philip.
Yes.
You get hit though. You take 8 points of damage, and the person attacking you this time is the one with the karma absorbing sword. So you lose 1 point of light karma and 1 point of darkness karma. And I'm pretty sure at this stage you're unconscious. No, you still have. You've only taken 12 points of damage. Never mind, because you healed.
Okay.
That would have outright killed me, so good job.
Okay. At this stage, they all seem to shift their attacks. They're going to fight more in a non-lethal way. They're not trying to kill with their attacks, especially with the smoke that is now filling the room. I think, Chris, it's your turn. What do you do?
Okay, I'm going to do a like a spinning roundhouse kick in this guy's face to not only hit him as hard as possible, but to kick his protective face mask and gear off of his face.
All right, nice. Go ahead and do you just want to make a single attack this turn?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and roll for that.
Are we supposed to be seeing Father Aegis Malachor? I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce that.
Calergus.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Father Aegis Melchior Calergus.
That's a name. Not sure I'd want it as my name, but it is a name.
Oh, sorry, I was muted this entire time. You kick the helmet off of his face, and revealing this face, and he takes damage, and
remember, I have the aura, so +1 damage.
Yeah, but they have the counter aura of the Taurus, so they take less damage.
Okay, now what is the chance that possibly when I kicked him and I kicked the mask off his face that his glasses went flying as well from the impact?
If he was wearing a mask, he was probably wearing contacts. Although maybe not. That's not great in this type of situation sometimes.
I think I think maybe like next turn you if you succeed another attack, it will knock his glasses off.
Okay.
Right now they're just like sideways. Philip, it's your turn. What do you do? Based on what you can see of the situation, you're most of you are wounded, and the situation is not in your favor right now.
Yeah. Shit.
Based on what you can
man.
see, there's still a lot of like smoke that's filling up the room.
Yeah. Is there any obvious escape out of here?
There's the window and the door, but the door is semi-guarded.
Okay. I'm gonna start making my way to the window then.
Okay. Roll
Is it open?
Hmm?
Is it open?
It was completely destroyed by one of the six opponents like arriving into the room.
That's valid.
So go ahead and go ahead and roll athleticism to make your way across the room with all of that smoke.
Yuck.
Do you take the light dice or the darkness dice?
I'll take the light die.
Okay. Then you go to bump into Stefan before you make it to the window. So you don't make it this turn. You lose your action. Stefan, what do you do?
What's happening with Oliver? He's still unconscious.
Yes, Oliver was knocked out at the downstairs because he failed his perception check to see this coming.
And he was knocked down by a hit in the head or some kind of chemical or.
He had the karma absorbing blades stuck into him until he was unconscious.
That's great.
Well, we are getting here and going to buy some weapons. So run away and buy some weapons finally. So,
I mean, Oliver has an armory at the observatory. It's just at the observatory.
yeah. Well, do I see the door actually and outside?
The door to the corridor? Yeah, you know where it is in the room, but because of the smoke, no, you don't see it.
Yeah, I will try to run then for it.
Okay. Roll for athleticism as you head off in exactly the opposite direction that Philip, who bumped into you, was going.
Athleticism, okay. So, can I roll above 12 this time? Oh, 16.
Yeah, you make it out of the room. You keep heading out until you arrive downstairs where both Crimson and Oliver are on the floor with a couple of what looks like darts from darts from a gun stuck to their necks, and wounds as if they had been as if they had been caught and silenced. For example, Oliver has part of his his karma is healing that wound, but he has part of his neck where the vocal cords are was sliced off by a sword, but he's not dead. It's not his entire neck that was sliced off.
And how many attackers are standing next to them?
None of them. They've all as far as you can tell, the only ones that are in the house, the only ones that are here are fighting upstairs.
I cannot do nothing to wake them up, right? They're probably drugged.
Yeah, unless if you have a verse that does that.
No. I will actually search Crimson for his gun.
Search a Crimson.
Yeah, to find if he has a gun or any kind of weapon.
Let's see. I think he has a sword on him.
Sword? Oh fuck, shit. What age this is? Like, come on, I'm old, but not that old.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll just take the sword.
Swords are the most useful weapon in this game because they do they do as much damage as a gun to everyone, and they do twice as much to a trinity. So they're like to someone who's fused.
I
with
will
their
then take his sword, and if I have time, I will cast a verse on myself.
He was a poet.
No. Then Horacates, son of Isis, raged against his mother and emerged from the water, his face terrifying, like a southern panther, his knife weighing 16 debens. And yeah.
It's the one that gives you double.
The heavy prime is double.
Yeah, the heavy prime isn't. Yeah, okay. All right. That's that was a lot for your turn, but but it's okay. The two people who were attacking you like they run after you and they out of the room and they catch up to you. They're in the room, but because you ran away, they can't attack you this turn as well. New turn. Thanks to the smoke bomb, your opponents can't do the automatic fail power anymore, and they're still going to keep attacking you. Now, bear in mind, they have like everyone has penalties to attack because of the smoke, but everyone also has penalties to defend because of the smoke. That's why nobody's like getting penalties right now. Yeah, two of them are going to attack each of you once. So roll 2 defenses each. All right, and they are going to get back to being to using 2 dice, to being more serious. Yeah, so Chris, you get the first 2 attacks, which means you have to dodge against 15 and 22, and Philip gets the next 2, having to dodge against 19 and 14. Wow, Chris is the evasion master. The second attack that you take is at a -3. Jesus Christ, calm down, Chris. Both of you like defend against your respective opponents wonderfully. You don't get hit this turn at all. Chris, it's your turn. What do you do?
So there's an open window here, right? And we're 1 story up. So how far away is that open window from me?
It's like you can remember it being about 5 meters where you think you're standing in the smoke, and you can feel a bit of fresh air, a bit of a breeze through the smoke in that direction.
And are any of these guys between me and the window?
They not exactly, but if you fail in your athletics check to get there, they would be able to block your way.
No, I would like to specifically have one of them, because I'm going to.
You're going to kick one.
No. I'm going to grab him and dive out the window and land on top of him.
Okay, no, that's a great idea. So you're going to do 2 brawl. You're going to do 2 brawl attacks. at no penalties. If the first one is to grab, the second one is to dislodge move the opponent with you. And if you succeed both of them against the person's dodge, then you do throw them out of the window.
And I am going to, when I hit into him, I am going to hit him slightly below his center of gravity to make it easier for me to maneuver him rather than above it when he can use his strength. If I hit him below his center of gravity, can't really utilize much of his strength.
All right. First one you're rolling against is 13. Second one is 31. But you have a nice description, so I'm giving you a +3 bonus to the second attack.
Okay, so there we go.
Okay, so you grab him. Absolutely no problem. And then I need you to roll a second one. Oh wait, I am at -3. Oh, you jump out of the window with one of them. Did you take with you specifically the person that you whose helmet you dislodged?
I would probably just take whichever one was the easiest one for me to take.
Okay, so it's going to be another one then, just one that was next to a window. There is as you connect with the ground, as he connects with the ground and helps you with your fall, you can feel that he's more resistant than a normal human would be, you. That's because he has the Taurus aura on, but he's still just completely knocked unconscious by the impact. Back upstairs, Father Agus turns to Philip and says, "You people, your family has just keeps on causing problems for me, Mr. Katsaros."
Oh.
And now it's and now there's 3 of them on you. It's your turn. It's your initiative. What do you do?
I thought there was 2 downstairs, 1 out the window, and 1 left upstairs.
There were 6 in total.
Oh, 6. Okay, never mind then.
I'm making this fight very, very hard on purpose.
Yes.
By the way, I'm sorry I knocked you out before the beginning of this. So you don't really have much to do, but
that's fine. This is funny to listen to.
You'd rather not be the one having this happen to. I get that.
I mean, Oliver has kind of a bad case of almost dying, so that he's just unconscious for big fights.
You gotta come around to get to doing your work in red at soon. Philip, it's your turn. What do you do?
I'm a run.
Okay, you're going to run. Which way?
Is everybody else heading in one specific way?
No. Stefan headed through the door, and Chris headed through the window.
Okay, I'll also go for the window.
Okay, roll for athleticism to make your way there.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. This time you make it. You jump out of the window, and just as Chris was walking away from the body that he landed on, you also land on top of the same body, cushioning your fall.
That guy's having a very bad day.
Right.
All right. From above, the soldiers are saying after them. And the helicopter sound that you were hearing before, it turns out that the helicopter is flying overhead, and they have a searchlight, but they also have something that sounds like a machine, gearing up. Starting something along something similar to that, yes. But don't worry, your characters all have healing properties. Chris, no, wait, it's their turn. They're going to be running after you, and Yeah, some of them are just getting, Oliver and Chris, you're getting shot at. So both of you can roll only dodge. Dodge is the only thing that can save you from an attack like this. And I rolled a 17. Okay, so Chris, you're hit for 6 damage.
Oh.
Basically, like your leg gets shot. Like you have 3 bullets that just like pass through your leg, destroying the bone inside.
Ooh.
And Philip.
Hey, Philip still had far worse than that.
So how do I mark this damage?
You check the boxes on the different lines. So currently, since you have like 24 life points, since you're fused, you just check the first 6 boxes of the bruised lifeline.
Okay. So I don't
by the
actually
way,
have broken bones then.
Oh, since you have an Archon and a Diva, your vitality is. Wait. Oh no, you didn't do your work in red. Never mind. Sorry. So do you see how the lifelines are divided from between left and right?
Yes.
Basically, you do not have access to all of the life points from from one of these because you're not fused yet. You haven't done your work in red, which will like give you those extra life points. Currently, you can only take the damage from the first line, which means you're now wounded. By the way, I was wrong when I programmed the character sheet. You do not take -3 to all actions when you're wounded. It's just a -3 to your initiative.
Okay.
So I'll have to modify this. But it doesn't change anything as far as I'm aware. So yeah, Theo, could you roll dodge, please?
Sure.
You're also getting shot at by the minigun.
Just oof.
And you also get hit for 6 damage.
I'm probably not gonna be okay.
Are you unconscious?
Endurance
3,
test,
4.
right?
Yeah, I'm unconscious.
All right. If you have any darkness karma, your Archon could try to wake you up. If your Archon thinks that it's a good idea to keep you going in this fight, or just to
My karma got drained.
Do you have any Archon karma at all?
Nope.
You're out of this fight then. Oh, I forgot to do your turn. Stefan, what do you do?
Well, I will try to wake up those two in front, Oliver and Crimson. So I will shake them, slap them, pull out the needles out of them.
Okay, I guess roll for brawl, and if you get a 12, you can wake one of them up. Your choice.
I will take I will hit Oliver first.
Okay.
Brawl.
Aries first, middle column.
Aries, brawl.
It's in the
That's
Aries.
16.
Oh yeah, the double rolls are saving you tonight. You slap Oliver back into consciousness. Oliver, you had taken 8 damage, and you'd been drained. And you had been drained of all of your karma, but you were healed. Hold on, but you were healed. But yeah, right now, any damage that you take gets you unconscious again. But you're awake. You just got slapped awake by Stefan. What do you do? These 2 attackers behind Stefan that are going to like move into attack you now.
Tell Stefan to run.
Yeah, as soon as I see you getting up on your knees, I will pull you up and help you get up and start running if we can.
So you've already used your turn to wake him up, but
Yep.
Oliver can run if you roll athleticism.
I'm going to start dragging Stefan.
You drag Stefan with you?
Yep.
Okay. In this case, I'm going to ask you for a strength roll. Just that.
Just strength. Where's strength?
Taurus, middle
Taurus still.
middle column.
Right, and I should have looked at this earlier, but I think this is a good time to take a prime and a penalty.
All right.
So efficiency and risk.
Okay.
Risk feels appropriate.
Yeah. Sounds great to me. Ooh.
Well,
Too bad.
Epic fail.
Okay. Let me have real quick a look at the horrible things that can happen when you take risk.
I told you, Oliver just should have stayed unconscious.
Risk. Weapon jammed. Weapon destroyed. Going in the wrong direction. Fall. Collateral damage. Disarmed. Immobilized. Oh, so you're immobilized. Your clothing grabs on, like catches something, stopping you from moving. You'll have to use one action to free yourself next turn.
Good. It's great. It's fantastic.
I know. Now, each of you roll for one dodge or weaponry if you have the weapons to block.
I don't have a weapon to block anything.
So dodge. Stefan,
Yes.
you as well.
Inconvenient.
Yep.
Not that inconvenient though.
Am I unconscious, or am I not even there where that's happening?
Oh, you're in the garden. They're just on the ground floor.
Okay.
They're leaving the house, but basically they're coming towards the garden where you are, where you just got
boy.
shot. So Oliver, you're balanced, right?
Yep. I'm taking
Okay.
the 21.
Yeah. You do not get hit. Stefan, you take you take 8 points of damage, unless if that kills you.
8.
Yeah.
I didn't check the. Well, it will fill out the wounded, definitely.
Okay.
But I don't think it will kill me. I still have a few boxes left, like 3 under unconscious.
Okay. But you are unconscious, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You get stabbed by one of the swords and just like fall unconscious. So that means I played these guys' turn. Chris, it's your turn. Philip got shot behind you. Behind that, you can see Oliver trying to leave the house, with Stefan getting like a sword planted through his shoulder. It's all gory. It's all horrible. It's not what you signed up for. What do you do?
So the helicopter above, how far above us is it?
I'm gonna say that it's like it's a typical action scene height. So like if you manage to get onto a roof and jump really high, you might be able to grab onto it, but like it's way out of your reach right now.
Okay, and you said throwing stuff is a firearms?
Yes.
That's not going to work either. Okay, and apart from the unconscious guy, how close is the next nearest person?
Apart from Philip?
No, their unconscious guy that I landed upon.
Yeah. The closest person is going to be those that are pursuing Oliver back in the house.
Okay, and how badly hurt am I at this point?
I think you only took 6 points of damage, so that's something you can heal if you spend an action to heal, and a point of karma.
Okay. So if I spend 1 point of karma and 1 action, it'll heal how much of that?
It will heal 4 points of damage.
Okay, and so can I do multiple actions? Can I still move while doing that, or is that like the only thing I can do?
No, you can move. You just have a -3 for moving, because that would be a second action.
Okay, so could I move from where I am now through? I want to go back into the building.
Okay, yeah, you can. You can do that. There is no difficult terrain or people standing in your way, so you wouldn't. So that would count as an action, but that would necessitate a roll.
Okay. And one last thing I would like to do is when I landed on this guy, I wanted to take his sword.
Okay, you know what? We can see you definitely take the sword on your way back if you didn't earlier. And now you're back inside with Oliver. You don't have to roll for any of these actions, so you're good. Oliver, it's your turn. What do you do?
Right. So Stefan's unconscious, right?
Yes.
Oliver's going to pick up the sword and try to stab the person in front of him.
Okay. So roll weaponry at -3 because you had to pick up the sword, and
take darkness, but I'm guessing they beat that.
Let me. Your attack is blocked. From above, you can hear what sounds like the leader yelling, "Surrender! We've got you surrounded." And it's going to be an intimidation check. So both of you can roll against willpower. And if you score higher than me, you get a. If you score higher than me, you get a. You do not have -3 to your actions based on the intimidation, but he is using a power where I'm going to roll 10d12 and choose the best one.
Where's willpower?
Under Leo, third column all the way at the top.
All right.
Okay, so I have 112. So I rolled a 15 in total. Which means both of you are intimidated. You both take a -3 to your next action, unless if that action is to surrender. Oh, Stefan, you're unconscious. You didn't need to roll. But yeah, with Chris rolling now, I see you both failed because I rolled a 15 in total. So you're being asked to stand down. You're being surrounded on one side by a helicopter and on the other by armed men. What do you do?
Well, I'm going to have to evaluate the situation this way. I've already heard one person tell Philip that these people are sick and tired of his family's meddling. They've also attacked us with lethal weaponry, and I have no reason to believe that surrendering would result in them letting us go.
Yeah, that is a pretty fair assessment.
I also feel confident that I can outmaneuver them and defeat them in the amount of time it's going to take for the police to show up for a helicopter flying overhead, firing a minigun
Yeah.
in a city. So
Yeah, in the city area. Yeah, that's a lot.
yes. So I'll take the penalty because of his intimidation, but I don't really feel as though he has any upper hand, even though he may think that he's convinced me that he has.
All right.
But what I am going to do is I'm going to look for the nearest one of their guys.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing they're trying to come into down here where we are.
Yeah. They've used their turn to maneuver to reach you, and the two that were downstairs are what they did was basically they dragged Stefan's body out of the way to keep going to keep the fight going, but like as if they were trying to avoid stepping on.
I was standing over top of Stefan.
Okay, then
when I grabbed the sword.
Then they didn't do this, and they would have attacked you instead. So both of you can roll for your respective defenses as they attack. So Oliver,
that was fun.
Sadly you are hit for a non-lethal amount of damage, but nevertheless enough to plunge you into unconsciousness.
Yeah.
And Chris,
you didn't get to ask why they were attacking us.
And you might not. Chris, you're the only one still alive, but you resisted that. Well, technically, I could. Let's see. No, yeah, never mind. So yeah, what action are you going to take this turn? Oh, by the way, there's now 6 of them around you, and 3 of them are pointing their fingers at you.
Okay, I'm going to overpower the guy who I'm engaged with. I'm going to do an overpower attack on him.
Okay, so you roll at a -3 because you're intimidated. And yeah, go ahead and against dodge. He manages to defend. Hold on. Yeah, if the attacker and the other. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let me just remember one thing. I'm trying to recall if the attacker and the defendant are have an equal role. I think the defendant is the person who's defending wins. So the next turn. Like basically you have 3 of them who are pointing at you, meaning that you're going to fail 3 checks in a row unless if you roll a 12, and then 3 of them are going to attack you. So roll.
You mean I'm going to get a 1 on my die roll?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that does not mean an automatic fail. You're absolutely right.
So to save time, I'm not going to bother doing any minuses. I'm just going to hit the roll, and then it will be adjusted accordingly.
Oh. Wait, no, those criticals are mine, not yours. Sorry, I got excited for your chances of survival.
Oh, I haven't rolled yet.
Yeah,
nice.
Go ahead.
Okay, first one.
So that is so the first one you rolled a. Let's see.
So so the first one, it's a 19 result, and then -3 to that, so it's a 16.
Yeah, 16. You manage to protect yourself. You're not intimidated anymore by the time of the second attack.
Okay.
Oh wait, by the time of the second attack, but you do technically have a -3 because
Okay.
it's the second time you're defending this church.
And I'm still at the. I need a 12 or I have a 1, right?
Yes. So that counts as a 19 -3.
16, yeah.
16. So you're hit for an extra 4 damage.
Okay, 1, 2. So that's 2 into wounded.
Oh, yeah. You're really good at resisting, despite the fact that they have that they're using their powers to try to even stop you from succeeding. So and go ahead and make the last defense check. So roll for brawl. So that is going to be a so that was a 16
13,
previously, so that would be a
plus
13.
another attack defense.
All right. So you take another 4 damage, and if that would plunge you into unconsciousness, you're unconscious.
1, 2, and then the first 2 boxes of unconscious.
All right. So this fight is over.
I
When
must succeed an endurance test every turn to stay awake. Is that?
Oh yeah. This is also something a mistake that I made when I made the character sheet. Because there's 2 editions of this game, I got confused with the rules between them. This is also you just fall unconscious when you start checking those boxes. So while you're unconscious, Oliver, you're having another dream.
It's good. It's useful. Very useful.
You are once again in your memory palace, but this time the thing is just standing there in front of you. But it is chained to. It's changed to a disc on someone's back and has to move around with this person. What do you do?
I'll just say, oh, so you're back. Did you figure out the answers to your questions from before?
I'm not sure I ever will have definite answers. Is it really possible to know something for certain?
Yes. I'm most certainly unconscious and dreaming right now.
She tilts her head and asks, "But isn't this your memory palace? A place you go to remember consciously?"
I have no idea. Normally people aren't in here, except for me. So,
yes. So if you come here when you're if you come here when you're conscious, doesn't that mean that you shouldn't be as certain as you are that you're dreaming?
Oliver just looks really confused.
Did you find where did you find a way to free me yet?
I was working on it. Exactly why are you chained to one of my memories now?
She answers, "I wonder," and she's still being pulled in that direction, and I think she's going to touch the disc and disappear into the memory.
I'll follow. Okay. Yes.
You. This is a memory of you, reading either a book or a forum post on the internet about about like you were learning how to program, you were learning how to code, and the chain that this creature has is linked to either the book or the computer. So what does your memory? What would you have like memorized of you learning to hack, to use computers?
What do you mean?
What memory would be important? It's enough that you would keep it in your memory palace that has to do with you learning hacking or stuff about computers.
Let's go with writing my first executable program, just something that writes out "Hello World."
Okay. Yeah. So like it's you arrive in the room. Both of you arrive in the room with like little kid you who's like learning to type, and you're both like standing outside of the door so as not to change your memory too much. So, what do you do?
Just a second. When was the first computer made? Like actual computer?
I think that's the plot of
Yeah, so during World War II.
Yeah, during World War II, in an attempt to break codes.
So it'd be like the mid-40s.
Okay, so yeah, I could be learning to program as a little kid. Okay, back to the important parts. What was your question?
No, she didn't say anything.
Oh yeah, we're
She's
standing outside of the room.
Yeah.
This is an interesting memory for you to choose.
You think I chose this?
Well, I didn't. I don't think.
I think I'm bound to some things in the world that bind me into a certain place, but I wonder what those are exactly.
Well, you certainly do like computers. I mean, all of the memories you visited me in have been in computers. You wouldn't happen to be a god trapped in the internet, would you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, that's inconvenient, but we're going to go on that assumption. And you think you can get us out of here? We're in a bit of a bind. Some random people just attacked us for apparently no reason, and I'm right now lying unconscious on what's probably a floor and hopefully not the bottom of a helicopter.
But how can I help you if I'm trapped?
I don't know. God magic? I mean, we're running off the assumption that you're a god, so I don't know. They're powerful, right?
I'm not sure I would know. I don't remember. And she looks to the she looks to the left to what in your childhood home was like the entrance to the to the bathroom, and instead it's the door seems to like open up to to this sort of maze that I described earlier, like this 3D maze, like the one that was on the computers, on the computers from which the attack came. And she says, "Do I have to go already?" And like there's you can see now that there's chains linking her to the inside of the maze, and she's being pulled back in. And she just leaves you in the stairwell.
Going to follow.
Okay.
Dive in after her.
Okay. You start to walk throughout this maze, and you can see something that you didn't notice beforehand. It's that the walls are comprised of, like, the walls might look like it's made out of bricks, but it's actually like text files in the form of bricks, extracts from books in lots of different languages.
Like what was on the computer? Or the servers?
Yeah, like the one that was on your computer when you cut it from the internet.
Right. And the paper we read from Philip's uncle didn't have any instructions on how to walk the maze, right? Just that you could.
It did have instructions on a pattern to follow for to heal one's wounds.
I'm going to attempt to remember those and follow them.
Okay, roll for. It's going to be an intellect check to remember the pattern described in the paper.
I'll take the darkness.
So you start to move in this pattern, and you make your way across this labyrinth. She does not follow you. She's wandering a bit on her own. Do you leave her behind, or do you take her with you?
I'm going to take her with me.
Okay. So once you've completed the pattern, you simply wake up, and you are the first of your comrades to wake up with your wounds healed, and you are at the bottom of a cold pit, as if you were thrown. There's a trapdoor made out of metal far above you, and you're in this like stone pit. And at the bottom, there's different corridors carved into the stone, heading in different directions. And you are underground, barely illuminated by a glow stick that was like broken and thrown in with you, and it's not lit, not lit up anymore. It's barely lit up anymore, but you can see all of your friends, including and Crimson, just laying unconscious here.
I was really hoping we could leave Crimson behind and run away, but instead I'm going to pick up the glow stick and hurl it as hard as I can at the trap door and yell for who is ever up there.
Okay. Roll firearms to try to hit it.
I'm mildly good at that now.
Yeah. You manage to hit it, and yelling, you start to wake up your friends, but you do not get any answers from coming from the trapdoor. So everyone is awake now, and you're all in this at this intersection of dark corridors with a pit above you with a trapdoor all the way at the top. What do you do?
So where do you think we are?
By the way, it's been a couple of days. You have regenerated all of your karma and all of your life points.
Karma? That's good. I can hide now.
Okay. So, Chris, Oliver, and Philip, you still have like you're still a bit woozy because you've like you've been unconscious for a little bit, but you're able to move. Your wounds have healed thanks to the karma regeneration. What do you do?
I immediately begin doing all the proper, appropriate stretches to get my muscles back into proper shape, because I'm sure they're probably somewhat, contracted and withdrawn from being unconscious and or immobile. I'm sure nobody came along every day and exercised me.
Yeah.
I probably need to clean myself up a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And this trap door that's above us,
Mm-hmm.
but there's corridors down here. Does there appear to be a way to get to that trap door?
No. The walls are spaced are too spaced to climb by putting pressure on the wall, and it is like 5 meters above you.
And how far apart are the opposite sides of the wall?
It's they're going to be like too far apart to push against one and lean against the other. I'm gonna say I'm not very good
with. Is it too
yeah.
far apart for, say, Philip and I to go back to back, link
Yes.
arms, and put our legs out to give us additional length? Is it still too far?
Yes, because of the corridors, you like because you're in the middle of intersection from the corridors. There's like there's no walls at the place where you're at.
Gotcha.
Like the walls start at the diagonals, which makes the gap even wider.
Okay. And it's about 5 meters up.
Yeah.
Does there appear to be anything on the trapdoor that we might be able to latch onto if we were to find some sort of like rope and improvised grappling hook sort of thing? Does it look like there's something we could grab onto that way?
There's a metal ring, but it is not very large.
Okay. So it would take a lot of work and a lot of luck. And gotcha. Well, I think we got our maze. I try and smile at Philip and hide my disappointment at how we got here. But we're here.
Yeah.
Have you two figured out exactly where we are and which way to go? I look at Stefan and Oliver.
Well, I don't have an idea.
I would like to meditate.
Okay. You start to close your eyes as the darkness around you starts to grow thicker around your only dying glow stick. Philip, you're now stuck in a maze. Exactly like you feel like you've always been in a maze ever since the moment you published your uncle's work. But he did give you some keys to leave a maze if you ever needed to in his work.
Okay.
Like you know a lot about mazes and ways to navigate them. So what do you do?
I'll speak up and mention that and say I know a few tricks on how to be more likely to exit a maze. We could try a few and see if we can maybe get out of here. I can't guarantee it, but it'll be better than just sitting around.
Follow the heart, always turn left.
Yeah.
I was going to go with right, but sure.
Right. So you your characters start to walk throughout the maze. Is that what you're doing?
No.
No.
No, I'd like to look around to see if I can find a stone on the ground. Maybe a fist-sized stone.
Yeah, you're gonna find one after you reach deeper into one of the corridors.
Okay.
But this place was carved into like into stone, so there's still like rocks.
Okay. I will use the stone to make a mark when we come to each place that we will turn. I will make the precisely same mark, which is that it will be on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, depending on which way we have gone. And the arrow itself will be an angle of the arrow pointing in the direction that we're going. And if we're faced with making like a second or third left at that point, I will make 2 or 3 actual of the pointy part of the arrows to reflect that at this point putting the arrow on the left so I would know how to face, will know which turn we took, if assuming I can't mark like that second one because it's maybe some sort of fork or split that doesn't really have a way to gauge that.
Nice. Okay. All right, and then you set off into the maze.
I guess so. I mean, I don't think there's anything else we can do to prepare.
All right. So based on your description, I think you're following Chris. So Chris, roll for survival to make your way across.
All right, I'm just, oh, there's survival.
And the Sagittarius, first column.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you wander around the maze and you find a couple of places that look like they could be exits, but they've been sealed. They're doors that have been shut, and like no matter how much you try to move them, they will not budge. And the deeper you go, the more you realize that you are in this. You are in a very vast, cavernous place. A place that makes you dizzy just imagining how lost you could get in here. But you find your way back to where you started after 2 hours of following Chris around.
We
come back to that point through a different path?
Yeah, through a different path, yeah.
Oliver will suggest following the path to restore someone's vitality.
Right. Theo, your character is the one who knows this pattern best. Do you want to roll for survival to guide people like your group throughout the maze?
Sure. Let me find it.
Sagittarius, first column, middle.
There we are. Thank you. Oh.
Okay, which one do you take?
I'll just go with the light. I won't get any more debt, but that's pretty awesome to know that I have the ability to roll well.
That's your Archon going, I know how to get out. I know how to get out.
Exactly.
Like, shut up.
All right, so you wander through this pattern. It turns out that you're in a maze that allows you to find this pattern. Chris, this is the moment we mentioned previously, where basically you wandering through this maze, you find an echo of it in your soul, and you understand how the you like unlock the ability to use the Taurus aura and breath.
Excellent.
Okay. By following Philip, that's how you come about this knowledge, and you reach a door at the end of the pattern. But the door but because you spiraled it in, you know that the door does not lead out of the maze. It just leads to a small room, and it's not locked. As you open it, the glow of the green glow that you have with you barely reaches the numerous books that are on the shelves of this place. Books that are that are lying open, completely empty and blank, despite the fact that they all look very old. They all still have their titles in different languages, but but it seems like all of their essence, all of their words were drained out of them. And in the corner of this place is a computer, unplugged, without any energy, just dead.
I'll plug the computer in.
There's no plug.
That's unfortunate.
Crimson says, "Oh, I could make this work if we needed it. It's going to consume my karma very quickly to do so." There's also a scanner right next to the like plugged into the computer, which still has like a book like laying face down on it.
Oliver's going to flip open up that book and see if there's anything inside.
No, its contents is the same as the other open books around here. There's nothing. Actually, roll for documentation.
I have that. 16.
16, okay. That is a success. It's not in the first book that you pick up, but you do find a single double page that hasn't, that still has letters on it in one of the books. It's in Chinese.
I can't read Chinese. I'm gonna ask, does anyone know what language this is? I think it's Chinese, but I look at Chris because Chris seems to know a lot about languages.
Ooh, I said Chinese because the next player that was coming today that's going to come next session had learned Chinese. Sorry, it was like the first thing I thought about, but let's say it's we're gonna say it's like ancient Latin.
All right. I'll look at Stefan and Chris and ask if they know what this is, because it all looks Greek to me.
It's not Greek, it's Latin.
Yeah, I can tell you that ain't Greek.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to decipher it. So it's what do you roll for Latin?
Languages under Pisces, scrolling towards the bottom. But you do you have the domain? Okay, I know Chris has the domain Latin, so Chris is able to.
I have a domain Latin. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but both of you. This is ancient prose, probably written by one of Rome's emperors. Judging by the fact that it found its way into a book all those years later, but it's not very good.
And prose,
But-
it's just like
It's
his
it's po-
novel or
It's poetry, basically.
poetry.
And here's the thing: it starts off in the middle of a sentence and it ends in the middle of the sentence at the end of the double page. But the pages before are all blank, and the pages after that are also all blank.
Wait a minute. If this is a famous person or an emperor, is this maybe some kind of verse thing?
Verse. You said verse?
Crimson is going to have a look and says, that's not any of the verses I remember, and unfortunately the night sky isn't nearby. I can see the night sky to analyze this. But anyone can roll astrology to know if any of the sentences in there are a verse.
Where is astrology?
Aquarius, third
Yeah.
column bottom.
I don't know any astrology.
Me neither.
Yeah, I got 0.
Stefan, it's all up to you.
17.
17. Those are not verses, but you know that this is one of the books that Crimson was talking about. One of the books that had a little bit of Pisces aura in it.
Well, at the moment, I don't have an idea what can we do with this, but so can keep it for. I will say that to the party that there is some kind of aura. Pisces aura. It's also Pisces aura, right?
Oliver's getting some tinglings in the back of his head about what's happening.
Right. So now,
But
now's
he's
the
not
moment.
going to say it in front of Crimson.
Okay.
So Pisces, Web, Melchior?
Yep.
Yeah.
So the solution to this scenario is at hand. The end is near. What are your characters going to do?
I still don't know what the puzzle is.
I'm going to ask Crimson to get the computer working.
All right. So he moves to the computer. He takes the plug in his hand and he says, "The electric genius has revealed to us the true nature of light." And you can see light karma pouring out of him and transforming into lightning and pouring into his and pouring into the computer, turning it on. It's going to last a couple of minutes during which he has to keep handling this. But also, Chris, if you're ever interested, this verse adds 4 damage to your physical contact by electrifying it. It allows you either to operate something that has no electricity or to do extra damage with your touch. So that could be nice with your martial art, or we could do the thing we've discussed to boost your martial arts damage.
Okay, and it would last for a couple of minutes?
Operating the objects lasts for a couple of minutes. As for the attack, you would have to re-spend light karma every time you did an attack to give it +4 damage.
Gotcha.
So it could be pretty karma consuming to use this.
Yeah. This scanner, is it also a printer? This scanner,
No.
is it also a printer or is it just a scanner?
It's just a scanner.
All right. Well, when the computer starts up, what do we see?
You see the logo of I think it's going to be like an old Windows computer, and it logs on directly to the what's it called to one of the sessions in use, and you can see that like the desktop is just full of scanned images, all of which are all of which are of pages that were scanned through the scanner.
And I assume we don't have any of our equipment with us.
No, you don't. You don't. You've only got the clips on your back.
All right. I'm going to scan in the last page.
Okay. You scan the last page, and the page appears on the desktop.
And nothing else happens?
I think the file opens itself, and there's a few words appear after the text saying, "Where am I? I'm lost."
I'm going to gesture Stefan forward and say, "You're good to talking to people. How do you feel about talking to a god trapped in a computer?"
You can see Crimson's eyes light up at this information.
Well,
That's why I got him to spend a bunch of light karma.
I think we should all talk. What kind of a god are you talking about?
Pisces.
One of the 12? Pisces, huh?
It was Pisces, right?
Yes, Melchior is the occult name for Pisces.
Yeah.
Well, I will. Do we actually can talk to the god, or we need to type it?
I mean, you need to type it.
Yeah, probably.
You've been learning how to type.
Yeah, no, I'm just asking. So let's ask him if I will ask him if that's all of him or just one aspect of him.
The text answers, "I do not know, but I do. But being complete sounds like, but I'm not sure what being complete even means." By the way, if you want, we can use the chat in Roll20 to type if you to make it more to make it like more role play, I guess.
Yeah, why not? And now all four of us standing on top of the keyboard, like, you know, and kids are arguing who will type. Yeah, I'll type. No, I'll type. Ask him this, ask him that. Well, who put you in here, inside of the computer, actually? No, I don't. Let's say.
We can just do this in role play. The typing might take too long.
Appeared where? Are you actually on electrical circuits of this device?
The answer is yes.
So, can we copy you?
Oliver is going to inspect the tower and see how easy it would be to remove parts, mainly the hard drive and the RAM.
it would be you could remove the hard drive
Without tools? Without tools?
It would be at a big penalty for your technologies check, but it would be possible. Oh, Fio's.
There we go.
Okay. What? How long have you been? How long has the internet been?
For about a minute.
Okay. Basically, they were asking if it was possible to copy the Pisces, and if the hard drive would be hard to remove from the computer tower. And I mentioned it would be difficult. It would be a difficult technologies check.
Okay.
Do we know? Can we roll 8 or something to check? Actually, do we know anything about about like how the gods are? I don't know. Are they in this world, or they occupy their dimension, or?
You have two options. You can either roll for secret history, or you can summon your Archon or Diva and ask them a couple of questions, because the Archons and the Divas have had previous existences in which they might have been in which they might have learned things about the 12 gods.
Well, can I then try to summon it? Not sure how that. Should I go to their palace, or?
You can talk to your Archon and Diva in your palace, or you can call out their name and they will manifest as like next to you.
Well, then I will call them by their name. I will say, Billy, Johnny, can I have your presence?
All right. So to your Diva appears to your right and your Archon to your left, each looking like a better. One of them is looking like a better version of yourself, draped in light, and the other is an uglier, meaner-looking version of you, with shadows as clothing. You have hold on for their personalities. What choir and legion do your Archons and Divas belong to?
I don't know. Diva is Sephirim and Archon is Tihon. Whatever that means.
Okay, so the Tihons are they're the secret keepers, and the Sephirims are the compilers of acts of light. Okay, so your Diva has a book in his hand, and he's like writing stuff down, and the Tihon is like observing avidly the scene, like looking at like observing everything with eyes that are as dark as the night.
So I will ask them, how can God appear in this world, especially entrapped in some electronic circuit? Is it possible to capture the energy of God that easily?
It might be. Hold on. So
Oliver is going to try to answer that question as well, if he can, because Oliver thinks he's figured it out.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Oliver.
He's going to say that they've been collecting books with his I don't know, energy in it, and they've compiled it all in one single place, And it's my theory that I'm losing my train of thoughts. Is my theory that since they're all being compiled in a single place, they're starting to
reach a critical mass?
Yeah, starting to recombine.
So so that's when Crimson says, "All right, well, what we should do is send the pages we scanned to somewhere else, so that she can escape and help us escape." Do we have any? Do we know any place, like anything that's connected to a computer that could help us?
Looking at this computer, is it connected to anything?
It's
other than his hand.
Yeah, it has an internet cable linked to it.
I'll open up my email and send it to myself.
Okay.
Maybe. Seems like that would be a lot of files. I don't know if that's actually possible.
All of the other files are completely empty. It's just the one that you scanned that still has text on it. But you send it to yourself, and that's when that's when Crimson just like runs out of power. And Theo says that they have to leave here. Would we be okay at leaving it on this cliffhanger for tonight?
That would be not terrible for me, since I've been up for a while, and I'm kind of with Theo. I'm getting a little tired.
But I hope everyone had fun. Really great job, Oliver, like piecing everything together. You're pretty close to what actually happened.
I like your puzzles. They're fun to model out.
Right. I've had tons of fun. I really like this group. I think Chris, like you're like starting to you're really getting the hang of this game really quickly. So like that's really great. Yeah.
It's nice to have someone that can back Philip up where that Philip can back up.
But yeah, I think you definitely have like better chance in most of the combats if you if you all knew each other's verses and like knew how to like do multiple actions and stuff like this. But I think that will come in time.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to be a part of this story, we are currently looking for more players and game masters to play new games in this setting and on this channel. You can also be a part of the story by having your face added to the cast of characters. I draw all of the images for this game, and you can commission me to make you into an NPC. If you like the style and you want a drawing like that of yourself, or if you want to contribute to the project, you can contact me through the links in the description. Finally, if you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day, everyone.